Hey everybody, Steven here, Gear Stuff and Things, back for another video. And on today's video, we're taking a look at just one guitar. Sorry, the next video might have more than one, but this one only has one. It is the Schecter Red Dawn Baritone Evertune. It's a lot to say. It came to me from the fine folks over at zounds.com. That's ZOUNDS.com. I want to say thank you to them for allowing me to check this out, as well as sharing it with you. If you're at all interested in this guitar or anything else that Zounds has to offer, there are affiliate links below in the description of this video. Anything you might snag using any of those affiliate links might put a tiny little drop of that purchase into my pocket in effort to keep bringing you content like this. So if that's something you enjoy and you'd like to support the channel and you're interested in this guitar or anything else that Zounds has to offer of their thousands and thousands of items in their inventory, feel free to snag one and it'll help my channel out a little bit. But let's talk about this, which is the Red Dawn. So this series, I think, existed in the past. I may be wrong. However, I do know that they did make a C1 from Schecter that had similar appointments as far as the colors. That may be where it ends. I don't know. Either way, we're talking about the Red Dawn series, which could have existed in the past. I don't know. But we're talking about the current 2025 version of the Red Dawn series, which comes in 4 flavors. We got 2 6-strings. One is a baritone. One is a standard 25.5-inch scale guitar. One features an Evertune, the other does not. This is the baritone one, which is a 27-inch scale, features the Evertune. We're going to get into that here in a bit. They have 2 7-string models available to you as well. Both feature a 27-inch scale. One has an Evertune, one does not. This is the 6-string, and that's the one we're going to discuss today. So let's just start by talking about the body. The body is made out of basswood. So it's a little bit heavier, but a lot of the heft of this guitar comes from the Evertune, which we'll get to when we get to the specs. It has gloss finish, black with red binding. That is a feature of the entire guitar, gloss against red. The whole Red Dawn series features the same aesthetic. It is glossy and black. It does show grease and smudge from your fingers. It is fairly susceptible to little surface scratches that can be buffed out with the proper equipment, which is mostly a microfiber rag of some sort and a nice polish. So just putting that out there. If you got a nice polish and you want to shine your jam up, shine it. I personally am not a huge fan of gloss black on guitars because of it showing a lot of surface stuff. Moving into our neck, we have a 3-piece maple neck. We have an ebony fretboard with these lovely red circle inlays, which are pretty cool. They are offset, not your traditional thing happening there. In addition to that, on the back of the neck, we have a matte finish. So if you were looking at this guitar and you're seeing all this gloss, you're like, oh, the neck's gonna be gloss, it's gonna feel terrible to play, or you're one of those people that doesn't jive with gloss necks because they either stick when you're sweaty, that sort of thing, or they just don't feel comfortable to you, or you sand them down. No worries on this one. The neck has been pre-matted or sanded for you, so it feels very fast, lots of playability. Just a really thin neck to what they call ultra thin C, and can't complain about that if you're in the metal world, which is kind of what this guitar is designed for, I would assume, is to get metally. It's a great neck for that. It feels wonderful. Has a tusk nut, which is cool, from Graphtec. It's pretty high-end spec, as often the Schecters have these days. Luminlay side dots, along with this lovely red binding. We have truss rod access at the heel, which is a huge bonus, and that pretty much covers the neck. On the headstock itself, we have locking Schecter tuners, which are great. Don't need them that much other than just for the ease of changing strings quickly because we have the Evertune. Let's go ahead and get into the Evertune. If you don't know what the Evertune is, it's a lovely bridge that helps your guitar stay in tune. Once it's been set up and adjusted and dialed in, you shouldn't have any trouble with guitar tuning drift as you are playing. Now, if you've got new strings, there's going to be some variable because they're new strings, so you may need to do a few fine tweaks. Once you have done those tweaks and the strings have adjusted, your guitar is pretty much good to go for live or recording. You're probably not going to be stopping to retune, which is really cool. By now you should know what an Evertune is. If you don't, have yourself a little bit of an adventure and go to the Google machine and use the internets or interwebs, whatever you like to call it, the cyberspace. You could go look that up if you would like. Moving on from there, let's talk about electronics, because I've kind of covered everything already. Electronics, we are dealing with two Fishman modern open cores. They are basically the Fishman modern without a cover on them, and they have a blade going on in them. Ceramic in the bridge, Alnico in the neck, as one would expect. They're great sounding pickups. They are very hot and very aggressive. I have found that they do a lot with cleans, that they also do with dirty, but there's a certain aspect of clarity and push through from having the active system with cleans that I'll show in the video shortly. However, if you're running these into an amp, you may want to, adjust the volume a bit. If you're using a modeler, you may want to adjust the input gain so you don't get a lot of clipping. I did find on the Quad Cortex I had to do a pad basically with these pickups to make them sound good and not kind of a little over the top. However, you may want them to sound over the top. Neither here nor there. We've got a 5-position switch, which gives us a ton of tonal variety with this set of pickups. You have all kinds of voicings. You've got an out-of-phase voicing, you got a center voicing, you got single coil stuff, you got both of your humbuckers, amazing. And then you have the active passive voicing from the Fishman setup here on the push-pull, which is this lovely black knob with a nice red marbly top. Pretty cool. And that's everything really about the specs of this guitar. It's just a great instrument, and I'm sure you're wanting to hear it. So let's check it out. All right, so that was the playthrough, and I had said a minute ago, like, I kind of feel like the cleans really pop with this guitar in a way that you wouldn't expect. Yeah, when I was writing that little tune there, I kept imagining some sort of like 70s vibe, like mobster thing or something like, I don't know, like a Guy Ritchie thing, or, something where it's just like a lot of like little flashes into like, here's some gangsters and stuff. But in my mind, for whatever reason, they were frogs. So watch this. So now that we've gotten that out of our system, or my system, That was Swamp Hustlers. And I'm sure you want to hear this distorted. And if you're worried that I was not going to get to it, I'm getting to it. I'm getting to it. Here's some chugs for you. All right, and there were the chugs, and I don't know, maybe you liked it. I think it sounds great. You know, the Fishmans are great pickups, especially if you're into the high gain stuff. This one is particularly aggressive. The open cores definitely have a little bit more oomph to them than the standard moderns, in my opinion. I know there are people that are going to claim they sound the same. They sound similar. There's still a slight difference. Whatever that may be, if it may just be because there's no plastic covering things or whatever it is, there's definitely a difference. These are brighter and they're a little more in your face with the upper mids. To do the old teapot scale for this one, I'm going to give this one, if I'm removing personal bias because of the finish, which I do not personally enjoy, I would have to give this a 4. A 4 out of 5 teacups. That's 4 of them. I'm not sure what that means in the grand scheme of things, other than if you are someone who is interested in a very metal looking guitar, or someone who just wants to be weird like me and play very clean things on this very metal looking guitar, you can do that. This guitar starts at about $14.99. It is a little pricey, but it is really well made, plays well, feels great, and it sounds fantastic. Plus you got the Evertune, and it's a baritone 27-inch scale. You can get super, super low, maintaining the tension. You can get super, super low. What the fuck? You can get super, super low while maintaining the tension, as well as, you know, maintaining your tuning, which can be a little squirrely when you're dealing with low tuning. So that was the Schecter Red Dawn 6-string baritone with an Evertune. This is my chest, I guess, but this show is Gear Stuff and Things, and you're you, and I'm grateful you're here. I hope you come back to the next one. Bye.